All right, and we're live. Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome to battlemapbrawl. This is the Wizard live support. And we're live. Okay. Hey, welcome. I have everyone. Sound on my. Welcome to battlemapbrawl. This is the Wizard. All right, there we go. I fixed it. I was like, what's going on with my sound? But ended up fixing it. But yeah, let me know how you all doing today, and we'll get started here shortly. Hey, Alexander. I see you. Thank you for the heart emojis. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. So let me get things ready here. But today, essentially, what we're going to do is focus on reading your guys' D&D horror stories. I figured that I wanted to do something a little bit different. We've been pretty serious this last couple of weeks. Just wanted to do something that was a little bit more fun and really see if D&D horror stories are scary, okay? So let me just cool. All right, so let me go here, and for those who are new, welcome. Obviously, you see that starting soon message. I mean, we haven't started our stream yet, but we'll get started promptly at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. For those who are going to join us, if you join us later, you can skip to start of the stream during the replay. But so boom, that was that one right there. But in this show, I encourage you all to participate in the conversation. So you already know. So I know, Alexander, you've been here before, but for those who have not, you make sure to use the chat, right, to write whatever you want to write in. Definitely, ask your questions. Add your advice, right? If I can spell advice, opinions, right? But the biggest thing that's different here is we literally want you to come onto the stream, and the way you do that is, and it's in the bottom. Let me see if I can point at it. Down there of the screen, right there, it says type fireball to come to the live stream. So whenever you type out fireball, oh well, whoops, I went to big mode on my other screen over here. But whenever you type fireball onto the chat, that tells me that you actually want to come onto the live stream. Where, let me actually show you what I mean by that. Boom, you're gonna be right here, baby. You'll be right there where you'll be we'll be talking back and forth, asking your questions, and it's gonna look something a little bit more like that. Okay. So just want to make sure it's clear. When you do that, I'll call your name. Get ready, because you're gonna be on the backstage. In the link, in that link, you can find it on top of the right there, top of the chat, or it is in the description. Okay. So Alexander, I see you're the only one chatting right now. So how you doing today? How's it going? It is summer, which is great. Summer, summer, summer. Boom, 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 boom. And I think that was it. Yeah, just make sure to type fireball for that. But let me know if you're here. Definitely say hi, and let me know if you're excited to be reading some D&D horror stories. Hopefully, you are able to share a few of your own as well. All right. Yeah. So we're about to get started here soon. 3 more minutes here, but make sure to say hello. And I changed my settings so I can see your messages faster and I can respond to them quickly. So if you want to try it and be like, see how fast I can respond to your message, be like, ha ha ha. Let's see how fast. Let's see. 3. Cool. All right, all right. How's the cool people out there? How are the sexy people out there? How are the the amazing people out there? Oh, what happened to my screen? There it is. Cool. So for those who are waiting here, so it's not boring, right? What I planned is first, as we get started, gonna read through these D&D horror stories that subscribers have submitted. And I responded. I read through them. Some are really good. Actually, a lot of them are really good. But I kind of, you guys, I want to hear your opinions. Were they scary? Is it more of a situation that could have been avoided? Um, or was it more like fun and games? Yeah, so we'll go through those. There's like about a few. I will say about like say six, and then we'll go, and if you guys don't want to submit any of your own, or if you have a video in mind, we'll definitely search up um D&D horror stories, right? And we'll see if we can find kind of a shorter video, like not a 19-minute video, but something that's shorter, and hear it, and we definitely give our opinions. That was it really actually scary? Was it something that could have been avoided, or was it like maybe you really like? There's some stories out there that you're like, yeah, that was great that um that person did that, you know, like you're rooting for the bad person. So, but we'll see here, guys. We'll see. All right, we're coming up on our start time. All right, and it is 6 Pacific, and 9 p.m. Eastern. So I'm gonna take without wait. Perfect. Let's go ahead and start, guys. So again, this is Battle Map Brawl. This is the Wizard Live Support. Today we're going to be reading your D&D horror stories. So essentially, what I want to do here is, like I was just saying here a little bit ago, I asked in the community tab, and I'll link this to you guys if you want to add more stories, D&D horror stories. You can click that and then add your own, or you can write in the chat however you want to do it. But I asked about like 2 days ago, hey, what are your D&D stories that you have? And I had a few responses. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with these first, read them out loud. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear, yeah, everything it could have been. Have like, was it really that bad, or would you have been a person who would have done worse? Right? Maybe you're the horror story that we should be all looking out for, and that was like vanilla, right? So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll take some time going through those. And again, if you want to come on to the live stream, definitely can. Again, make sure if you like any part of this video, any videos on the channel, make sure to like, okay? So you can cast that fireball. Right? And after we finish up with those, if we're still hanging out, if you guys still want some more, right? You want some more, then we'll go ahead and we'll find some videos, or we'll find some posts up on Reddit, and we'll read some of those. But definitely, I want to know your favorite ones. So make sure to like link them either in the community tab or in the chat, so we can go over those together here today. Okay, awesome. So definitely send me some love over here if you're there, and we're gonna get going here. So let's go ahead, and I know he has a couple of them, so let's do this. We got at Wakeful 3282. He wrote a couple of different horror stories here, so we'll start with one of his and then kind of jump in between, going back and forth, because these other ones did write a few. So we'll do that. Okay. All right. So we'll start with Wakeful 3282. So we'll read, like, I think this is just the intro. So he says, or they say, I don't play D&D, but my friend does, and he was in a Discord server with a bunch of the worst kind of anime fans, the kind of people to put anime figures in a jar. So I'm not too familiar with people putting anime figures in a jar, but that does sound pretty horrible. The only reason he kept playing was because the dungeon master, who was a part of the server, not part of the group though, that did some top tier fuckery, and one of the dudes who played with him, who was actually funny, just from memory. Okay, So this is like the setup. I did read these a little earlier, but yeah, that makes sense, right? You're gonna be in a group with somebody um, who does really good, right? They're a good DM, and then I mess around. That makes it more engaging, fun game. And then there's a funny guy, so that works. Okay, so he says, I recall being told about, and we'll start with this one, then we'll go to somebody else and come back to Wakeful. He says, the first one player with a particular bad tendency to hit any female character in the weirdest ways received a blessing that made him so attractive to any female he tried to hit on would just die of a heart attack. um, that's really hilarious. I don't know what you guys think about that, but that reminds me of Steven here, part of the channel here. He just likes to mess around, and that's like a perfect way to get to, like, stop the shenanigans as a DM and be like, you know what, that thing you really like to do, let's just make the opposite. When you do it, something bad happens to that other person. So is that, I think almost that's a good job on the DM. But I want to know how you guys feel as players. Definitely let me know. We'll come back to, so each one of the little dashes is one from Wakeful. So let's come back to Wakeful, and I know he has a couple of them, but let's go with so Jaw Striker 19. So he wrote, one of my players, and I'm going to zoom into this a little bit, so you guys can see this a little better. That only makes sense, right? All right, here we go. So Jaw Striker 19 says, one of my players started the first session off by killing the rest of his party and tried sealing their souls into bread. So so I wrote back to him like, hey, that's really fun. That's really silly, right? Like, let's go ahead and trap their souls into like bread, like the most random thing in the world. But I asked him to, like, hey, can you tell me more, like what happened, this and that, and he replied back. So he was saying that effectively, what happened was I decided to write a one shot in which all the players had amnesia and couldn't remember who they were, but they were greeted by a quest giver to tell them how to regain their memories. The player, a good alignment player, instantly responded to the quest by deciding, I don't know any of you people, and started attacking all of them. Every other player attacked him in response, and for 3 minutes rolled nothing above a 13 on a fighter with a 15 AC. So that really sucks, right? Like the luck, right? That this other person, and he wrote here too. I forgot to mention it was a larger group. 9 people failed to roll higher than an AC of 15. He killed all the spellcasters first, so magic missile and stuff were out of the question, right? So this player of his was pretty smart in killing all the spellcasters in the group, but it is super realistic. Not realistic, ridiculous is what I wanted to say. Super ridiculous that a group of 9, so maybe it was 8 versus 1, so 8 people at least couldn't hit this one character that was supposed to be good alignment, and he just went crazy. I would say this counts as a horror story for sure. Like, this is something that you're gonna remember for a long time. Where it's like what were the odds of that? Like, if that was like a casino, like you just won $1 million. You know what I mean? Like the odds of winning something like that. It was the odds of this terrible story for Josh Striker 19. So I should have asked him what he did as a dungeon master, but maybe if he sees this, he can reply back and let us know what he did there. Okay, so awesome. Let me know how I'm doing, guys, and if you're liking these stories first. I thought it was a pretty good one. Okay, cool. So going back to Wakeful 32, 3282. So again, he has multiple stories. So here's the next one we're going to read. So this one says, so this is a different time that his friend was in a D&D group. He said, The normal dude from the group did everything he could to not die at the beginning. It was one of those rebirth campaigns where a normal dude dies and gets thrown into a fantasy world, and went for 30 minutes before the other party members got mad. So yeah, that is a pretty like so if it, like, it took me a second to really understand what was happening when he mentioned this, but essentially whenever you get a character introduced, or like it sucks that you're waiting around. It happens a lot when you're being introduced into the group, maybe like for a whole game session. I heard even 3 game sessions your character's not even introduced because they're finishing something up, right? Like that sucks. And in this situation, um so I mean, compared to that, 30 minutes is not horrible, right? But it is still sucks. Like, okay, I want to play the game, guys. You just imagine you and your friends ready to take the next step, but one member of your group decides to like hog the spotlight for like 30 minutes straight, trying to figure out, what they're trying to, get some items at the store or whatever, role play, all that. So it just takes a while. 100% sucky. um and let me know which one's your favorite so far. Let's keep going here and let's make this closer. So we're gonna go to, yeah, I'm just saying how I can say, oh yeah, a retail cashier for 50. Okay. So this is their horror story. So it says, my DM allowed us a homebrew weapon. We had just finished the campaign as relatively lower level characters, and we agreed to start a new campaign as the same characters from same universe. Okay. Everything but the biggest change was that we were gonna give the characters more power with the more generous leveling system. Okay? So far, pretty normal, right? A lot of times people use the same characters for a new campaign, so great. Anyways, my character got what I called an ethereal poisoner. I'm an ethereal poisoner. I gotta have to look up the pronunciation, but ethereal poisoner, a staff. Okay, so it was a staff that projected high intensity neutron radiation. And the DM didn't make the connection between what I was describing when explaining the weapon and the nuclear physics. Yeah, I don't think I would have either. So my artificer ended up using it to make plutonium, and by the time anyone realized the arachnophobia, um, including Bone Demon from earlier in the first campaign, became the center of a rather sizable crater. So, and he says, and that's the story of how my friend group essentially got a nuclear physics 101 course from playing D&D. I think he did him a favor, and you also gave us a nuclear like physics 101 course. Like, I did write back. I'm trying to remember what I wrote here, but it sounds like at the end of the day, man, a retail cashier 450. I think you failed to work with your DM exactly what you meant, and I think that would have been what you wanted from that weapon, and it would have been better. But it is what it is. I wrote to him, thanks for sharing. I will make sure to share. He said that would be amazing. And then he adds here, I know there was something else. And let me make that bigger. So, forgot to mention, leading up to the initial test, my artificer had been investing in and making contracts to fund cartographers' explorations to make new maps. My artificer was then able to make money not only off every sale of the red drawn maps, but was able to use the cleric, who character wasn't aware of the scheme, to teach and encourage the use of medicine that from companies my artificer had some stock in. So this sounds like you're the problem, bro. Oh man. Um so yeah. No, that's funny. And yeah, make sure like to avoid situations like these, easiest thing to do is just like make sure you're communicating with your DM or with your players, right? Maybe you're a DM and you want to do something really cool that you know more about because you're freaking smart, right? That you're explaining, hey, this is how this stuff works, and I just want to make sure that you and me are on the same page, right? If you're not, then it's not gonna work out at all. So I'm sure that they were very surprised and unexpectedly of the situation. Maybe they took it well. You let me know at retail cashier right back. Let me know if they took it well or not. Um, but other than that, you're just causing trouble, just making a good old cleric, you know, spread the word, and you're taking advantage of it, bro. Advantage of it. Oh my goodness. Um, cool. So that's really funny there. Let me know which. Let me know which horror story here so far is your favorite. All right, let's go back to we'll go back to a few of Wakeful 3282 has a few more, so we'll do like two here and then go back down and read the last two. From I think it was King Beast there at the end. So, let's see. I think yeah. So the last one was the heart attack, right? Every single time the character played on the hit on the female, just got a freaking they just would die. That's horrible. And I like how it was blessing, right? Okay, so the next story that his friend told him was the normal dude from the group did everything he could not to die at the beginning. Oh, we already read that one. That was the one where he just taking up a lot of time. So here's the next one. So dude with gun. So character with a gun, a reoccurring character who was also transported into the fantasy world, but with a gun and possibly the ability to teleport. The DM used this mostly to get rid of the weird summons the players made because apparently one of the players had a particular liking to succubi. So it'd be succubi. So yeah, so first of all, it's so like to me this makes sense, right? If you're a player in a campaign and you're just messing around the whole time, um and maybe that's just the way you play, so totally fine, but there are limits to every single DM. And this sounds like based on what you said earlier, this is a DM who is experienced, so they're like, yeah, go ahead and do what you want because it's a little more fun that way, just more open world. A lot of times those DM are gonna mess with you every single time. Because they're like, okay, do you bring this? Then I'm gonna do this for every single time we do something ridiculous. And that's where the dude with gun came in. So maybe it's not a horror story. It might feel like a horror story to you, but it's really just like that DM mechanic to kind of let's bring the world back in. And I was looking this up earlier because you said the DM mostly used the gun guy to get rid of weird summons the players made, like a succubi. So I looked up like, wait, how can you summon a succubi? And essentially, I can't remember the spell, but I think it was summon greater demon. Um, it's probably from that spell, but you can't specify which demon. It says it in the spell, so maybe something that he got away with. Again, that's with the DM. They're like, okay, that's fine, but then they're gonna like, here comes gun guy again. So next one here that we have and is my friend developed a strategy that we still both use in real life today, and that he dubbed casual charisma. Basically, if your speech stat wasn't high enough for something you just do, like asking nicely, it only worked for my friend and made everyone else very mad. So I try to get clarification on this. Let me know if you understood that the first time, but I didn't quite. So I asked him like, hey, respond to some stuff, but I asked him, all of these are great. The only one I wasn't clear on was the dove casual charisma. Can you clarify that for me? I didn't quite understand it. and then this was what he meant. I don't know about any specific situations. The general idea I got was that if he didn't have the charisma for a certain thing, he could effectively just ask nicely, and the DM would sometimes just count it. So like that's super funny, you know. Just like just imagine like the dragon hits you and you're out, you're dead, and you're like, oh man, come on, please, can you just say that he missed? Is that cool? Okay, man, you got it. I think you know what I mean. Um, so maybe I'm thinking it like that. I'm thinking table level, but maybe it was in game level. So like maybe literally asking the king for the castle, the keys to the castle. King, can I please have the keys to your kingdom? Okay, sure. You know what I mean? Um, so that's really funny. I think that's super hilarious. Awesome, awesome. And remembering now, I don't think King Beast got back to me with the story. He's like, I don't have one. I was like, don't worry, just share one, video. He's like, awesome, thank you. And King Beast 947. Wait, I gotta say this right. King Beast 9497. You owe me a story. Okay. All right. So and then I think we're going to get to our last one here from our stories that we have. And guys, let me know if you're enjoying these, and I'm definitely having a fun time here reading these with you. The last one here, it says the dude had the blessing of attraction. Attempt. So okay, here we go. I'm try that again here. So the dude who had the blessing of attraction. Okay, so that was the dude over here that kept hitting on girls. Attempted to try necromancy to continue being a weirdo. His response to the DM's warning that necromancy is very illegal and immoral was, I'm the hero, I'll be fine, before getting stomped by a dwarven blacksmith. Undead were also immune to his persuasion effects, and he had a terrible charisma stat. I have some older messages I might dig up, for those are my favorites that I remember. Awesome. Hey, thank you very much here, Wakeful. Those are uh plenty of stories and they're all really great. Um yeah, and I think that DM, right? He was really experienced, probably been playing for years, did adjusted really well to the player. The guy, especially that dude, right? So it seems like he was more of a nightmare player than there was like more of a. I don't think it was really the DM nightmare in any way. It was more of a player causing shenanigans. Well, sometimes it's funny at the table, but if it's totally out of line, if it's interrupting the course of the game, then it's just like enough is enough sometimes, you know. That's how I get with Steven sometimes, like when we're playing on freaking Dungeons and Dragons, he's making like, I don't know, like dick jokes all the time and shit. I was now I'm thinking of Kevin. Where you at, Kevin? We gotta bring Kevin back. So if you're watching this, Kevin, I'm gonna tag him on something so he can see this. But he's like the king of like dick jokes and sex jokes and all these ridiculous drug jokes. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Um, but awesome. So let me know let me know if you guys really enjoying these, and we're going to right now. What I'm thinking of doing is I just want to make sure that I am getting this correctly. All right. Oh, wrong screen. Cool. So what I would love to do is watch some videos here if no one has any posts or that they want to do, right? So let me switch over. Yeah, feel free to share your own D&D horror stories or your own videos, right? You can again just type them in the chats, or you can definitely use that link there to the chat community community tab, and I can read your stories there. But let's find a pretty good one here. Oh, I need to switch over screens here. Perfect. Perfect. All right, maybe we'll start with a quick little short here. Yeah, we'll start with a quick short. So a D&D horror story. Let's see what his is all about.
So I just had a coffee and I was thinking about I just had a coffee and I was thinking about a horrifying D&D story my friend sent to me. So there's this player being a creep to another player. He's hitting on her character all the time, making unwanted advances. But then it gets worse. Dude starts making persuasion checks in-game to force her character to date his.
Yeah, that's no good at all. This was already reminding me of Wakeful's character over here with the with hitting on the girls.
It's a 24 on this charisma roll, or your character has to kiss me. Obviously, that is messed up, and it went on for way too long, caused a huge argument and a load of drama, and it also got me thinking. RPG horror stories are never about the RPG. It's never about the game. It's always about some asshole playing it. This story ended with the problem player getting kicked from the group, but the woman still also left the group. And some people were saying, like, oh, she should have stayed, she should have given the group another chance after the problem player was gone, and I was like, no, she did exactly the right thing. No.
Yeah, like, especially when somebody gets burned, like, it's hard to stick around, for sure. You know, like, it's that's why when you set up the rules for your game and your environment, you want to make sure you create a type of environment that you and your friends want to play. If it's gonna be, you know, all those dick jokes and all the drug jokes all the time, like how the group that we had here before was, then cool, right? Everyone was at a level okay with it. But if you guys were decided like, hey, let's have it, make sure it's really kid friendly and there's a lot of kids around and you're doing that type of stuff, then that's gonna be horrible. So like, don't like you're breaking up the environment, the nutshell that you created in your home game. So definitely don't do that.
No D&D is better than bad D&D. You will find a group to play with down the line who doesn't suck. So I just had a...
Yeah. So I think he really put that last, nail in the coffin there. Like you definitely can go out there and find yourself a group if you find into a group that is just no longer working for you. Maybe in the beginning it was good, but you gotta move somewhere else to find that. And I think some of the people that were in our group, this before we started the channel, I think that's what happened. And I know they went to start their own group with some other friends, and it is what it is. Even though I miss them, and we're still good friends. It is what it is, right? You burn that situation, then no good. So awesome lesson learned there. But let's find something a little bit longer here. No. So instead of the shorts, Big Chad, which is a pretty funny video. If you guys haven't seen that one by XP to level 3, then I think that was one of my one more favorite ones that he made in more recent times. Let's see. I might do that. Here we go. I don't want to do something too long. So Blaine simple, he's awesome. But let's check this out. So it's just like 8 minutes here.
This video is sponsored by my Anime into D&D homebrew packs. Every month comes a new package chock full of cool anime-themed content for your D&D 5e games. We're slowly branching into every anime, manga, and light novel-themed idea out there, with patrons getting the best deals on all the newest content. If any of this sounds interesting, you can check out the new website down below. And with that said, let's get right on with the video. D&D horror stories have grown to be a dominant force here in the community. Just to make sure we're all on the same page here, D&D horror stories are exactly what they sound like. Horrific D&D campaigns that contain contain some of the weirdest, disturbing, and downright illegal events that could ever happen in a tabletop gaming space.
Yeah, you know, like first I was gonna comment. It definitely has blown up, and in the scene of D&D community, people just really enjoy them. But what he was just mentioning here at the end, that like illegal stuff, like I just saw like the most craziest thing. It was like player has like in the game, right? Not in real life, but in the game, it's like a player role plays relationships with a dog. Like, really, you serious? Like that is just like why? You know what I mean? Like that's ridiculous. Why are you going that far with stuff?
We have the racists, the weeaboos, the kinky furries, the edgelords, the creeps, the criminals, the rule breakers, and everyone in between. Sometimes the DM is the problem, sometimes it's the players. D&D horror stories are known for their shock factor because you never know what's coming next. Around 2 years ago, I can barely recall this type of content even existing on YouTube, and then all of a sudden, BAM! Crit Crab, All Things D&D, Den of the Drake, Critical Kunik, and a bunch of other creators all diving into the game.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them, and that's cool that the put D&D dodge there. Oop. I'm trying to get the frame. I can't get the right frame, but you'll see again. There you go, D&D dodge. So he seemed like a cool dude when he was like still only had like 100 subscribers and whatnot. So he's definitely moving up. So awesome. But yeah, I was gonna say, really at the end of the day, these are all stories about people, right? Not necessarily what's happening bad in the game, which I thought was first. It's more about the person, right? Somebody in the group did something to somebody else, or to the whole party, right?
Of other creators all diving into the game. These YouTubers would search for spicy stories on Reddit to then read out loud on their platform. Their go-to spots would be r/RPG and D&D horror stories, where a lot of the craziest stuff would be posted. Now, even though this origin story may seem simple enough, there's a lot of controversial opinions around the subreddits, each YouTuber involved, how they get their content, and the part that defamation and money have to play in all of this. You thought this was gonna be a funny, quirky video, but it was me, Blaine! Yeah, well, considering that we're talking about some YouTubers' livelihoods here, my wisecracking will be toned down in the hopes that you can leave this video a bit more informed than when you joined. So get comfy and let's begin. Gosh,
yeah, and I was gonna say, I think that's very important to like just understanding, right, the reasons behind things when it comes to these type of stories, not just like taking them at face value. It's definitely important.
Liking this analysis to be like 40 minutes long, but I know it's only gonna be like 8. You know the website Reddit? Yeah, I know, pretty small platform. Not a whole lot of people know about it. It's used primarily for browsing cute pictures of cats, funny memes, and secret forbidden sauce. However, on June 2015, in an even more
that just reminds me, I've never been a huge Reddit user, but like definitely the censor stuff. I just remember freaking a buddy of mine in college just sending me this link, and it just was like, just yeah, an image that you can't get out of your head. If you recognize what this is just off the bat, then yeah, it's crazy. So careful about Reddit, okay? Just be careful of what people send you from there sometimes, okay?
more obscure corner of the internet, sprouted r/D&D horror stories. Now, a take I always hear are from the people who can't enjoy any of the content purely because of the way Reddit itself encourages successful postings. If you want to get your story upvoted, it's gotta be engaging, thrilling, creepy, and weird. So obviously, if you want the story to grab a lot of attention, you need a firm hook to lure readers in. And what better way to design a hook than by lying? For every honest story, there's always the chance for one to be filled with false information. And for some Redditors, it doesn't matter if the story they write is completely fake or not, so long as they can farm their internet points and move on. Who's gonna go out of their way to double check the story? Who even can double check the story? Nobody knows anything about the OP besides the unverifiable details they put in their posts. Readers just need to assume that everything ever posted on the site is factual and move on. It gives the
100%. Like, don't just trust everything that's out there. Like some people are really good writers and they know how to manipulate it so that you get they get the attention. And that's the name of the game. And you know, when it comes to advertising, is like really doing something catchy, grab your eye, get your attention, get you hooked.
the original poster complete authority over everything in the story, which can end up having some less than savory conclusions. In the case where the OP is obviously an unreliable narrator, it falls on the community to pick apart the post and figure out if the poster was the problem all along. Dang, that was a lot of P's. Most of the time, nobody cares though, so all the hot garbage mingles with the good content, and you can't tell what's decent anymore. It's like a beautiful wedding cake that somebody just dumped sand all over. Sure, if you try really hard, you can get a few spoonfuls of yummy cake, but most of the time you'll be trying to scrape the sand off and still end up chewing grains in the process. So horror stories are a mixed bag, and the way Reddit works as a platform just encourages it. Regardless, you now know about the wacky shenanigans of Reddit, so now we can get into the YouTuber side of things. Storytime channels existed long before the rise of Reddit story readings and were the main driving factor behind their success. People like listening to stories on the internet, and even though a large majority of the videos would just be moving text on a screen, viewers still tune in. I know I do. While I'm
Yeah, and like literally everybody loves a good story. The better you can tell your story, the the more people are going to be engaged and listen. So, yeah, I was just thinking about how this one guy was saying like, oh, I don't really have somebody was saying that their son was saying that they don't have any good stories, and it wasn't a father or anything. It was just like an older person told them, hey, it's because like you haven't wrote down the things of all the times you did something exciting. He said like document, like write them down or something, take a picture or write them down on your phone where you can document it and essentially and just remember it, so that way you can tell those stories. Right now all of a sudden you're gonna get a little better grasp. I'm totally messing up with the words here. Let's just keep going.
drawing a new YouTube video, knowing it'll only make me minimum wage, I like to listen into some D&D horror stories to keep me occupied. My eyes are focused on drawing, while my ears get to be blissfully cradled as the narrator talks about some D&D character's furry pooping diaper problem. Horror story YouTubers filled a niche that was deeply needed. Dramatic, long-running, easy-to-produce content that was simple for new listeners to jump into at any point. At the beginning, I wasn't too sure if this type of content was the stuff for me, but after my videos began taking longer than 40 hours to complete, my YouTube feed dried up and I was
Yeah, just so you know, YouTube videos take, well, like editing. It's the editing that takes a long time. Sometimes shooting can take a long time, but if you're looking to do YouTube, and if you don't have any skills in editing, like you're learning from like brand new. It's like you're learning how to crawl and then you're learning how to walk, but in editing, it takes a while. And literally, I have done videos where I will spend about 40 hours per video, and I felt like I was getting nowhere. Now I just try to simplify it as much as I can, and still make it entertaining for you guys. So
left with horror.
So hats off to all YouTube creators and D&D creators here on YouTube that are and anyone who makes videos consistently, like especially the small ones, right? But once you're kind of bigger, you can hire an editor, and I'm hoping one day help me out help me out so I can hire an editor so I can create better content for you guys. But most of the smaller ones, even if they have 50,000, 100,000, you just saw that he showed his revenue. It said something around like 300 in a month's time. That's not enough to hire an editor. That's some gas and groceries. So and he has a pretty big channel. He has a great channel, in my opinion.
Horror stories being the only D&D content I could watch that wasn't the entire history of Baldur's Gate. Now, in a nutshell, horror story YouTubers usually open their videos with a brief introduction, some teasers of the most interesting parts of the stories, and then jump right into the bulk of the content, which is the Reddit post. Afterwards, the YouTuber gives their own brief opinions on the story, and the video ends. A single episode could last between 10 to 20 minutes, which is more than enough for those delicious mid-roll ads and a happy YouTube algorithm. Simple, right? Oh golly gee, I sure wonder how the internet will get upset this time. Dear insert D&D horror story channel here. You are in violation of stealing the stories written by Redditors, reading them, and then profiting off of other people's work. You are a lazy content creator who doesn't deserve the money or attention you've gained on the platform. Yours truly, a Redditor. Yeah, almost nobody I've brought this up to agrees with this. Some of them just like listening to horror stories, some just enjoy browsing Reddit, but everyone agrees that if you get permission from the OP and add something of value to your video like critique or voiceover, there shouldn't be a problem. People who think horror story YouTubers are evil need to find a more productive way to waste their time, because this opinion is wrong on every level. Even if you might think that the creators are lazy, you're still wrong. People may like to listen to horror stories because of the narrator's personality, voice flow, the story being told, or the reader's opinions afterwards. Finding a good story to record, recording it well, sharing your take on the story, adding video graphics, and editing this all together is transformative work. And doing this every week like most of them do takes serious effort. At one point, I was actually on—
Yeah, 100%. Like, yeah, when I was in preparation for this live stream here, I was like, what would it take to like just change my channel to be like a D&D horror story type of thing, right? And like, 'cause it just seems so simple, and like, and yes, like you can just take this image and make it scroll up and do the voiceover. And I think right now, as far as my video skills go with that type of stuff, is you got to find the right stories for the type of video that you want to attract, right? It has to be a good thumbnail, a good title to attract people. So you got to search around. So they just put down, sometimes maybe you get sometimes lucky, maybe 1 hour. Sometimes it takes you longer, let's say 3 hours just for that. Then you got to organize it in a way for your video. Maybe you already have your script after a while, you might say the exact same thing every once in a while, change it a little bit. But the filming it like might take you, and doing the voiceover, you might stutter a lot of times. So you got, like, I know, like, I stutter sometimes, or I don't get my words out 100% correctly. So now you gotta go through and edit out every single time that you messed up or repeated a word, so that so it sounds clear for the person. And then some of these YouTubers, some do more than others, have really good at like animation, kind of like Blaine Simple, his VTuber type thing. Like he spends time, right, to make sure it's all animated. Some other ones not as much. So depending at that level of skill you're at, it just might take you more or not. So yeah.
On the bandwagon that horror story channels barely put any effort into their videos, but then I realized just how much work goes into each of these factors, and I had no other feeling but respect for them.
Yeah, so I would say, like, overall, I'm not sure, is like freaking, I would put at least, like, at my skill level right now with old videos, maybe like 10 hours for one video that might be 10 minutes. Like 10 hours for 10 minutes of work. And some of these videos are like 20 minutes. So imagine that double. Maybe not double. Maybe put it at 12. Maybe at the most.
Endless torment of people demanding content to be a certain size, shape, and quantity is frankly terrifying. Personally, I haven't received any backlash for my lack of videos in the past, most likely because I add drawings to some of my stuff, which gives it the illusion of being higher quality. But that doesn't excuse the blatant stigma that other creators have to burden. If there's one thing I could agree on with the Redditors though, it's that D&D horror story channels don't have a whole lot of time to get personal with their viewers, expand their content into other horizons, or do anything that isn't a horror story. I mean, sure they could, but their subscribers have been watching the same format of content for ages now, and changing that up is the fastest way into the algorithm graveyard. That's
that's interesting to hear, and it makes sense. People who watch D&D horror stories probably not only watch D&D horror stories, but it's like I feel like it's one of those pastimes, like reading a book. Not there's a lot of people who read books, but I know I don't. Like, I'm more of a TV watcher, so like, if you're somebody who listens to D&D horror story, you probably do it on the regular, and you're not out, you are doing your own thing and watching new stuff, but like, you enjoy it, so you go back to them. So that's something interesting I didn't consider, that like those creators who do that don't really have time for other things, unless they do have a video editor that can do all the hard work, and then they can just go relax and do other stuff.
Just the curse of having your entire channel revolve around a single concept. If you genuinely like a creator and really want to support their stuff, giving them space and checking out their newest projects, regardless on the topic, is the best way to do it. So to summarize, D&D horror story YouTubers are passionate creators that brought a new form of content to the platform. Although the questionable validity of the stories they read is always a factor, the stories are interesting to engage with and a treat to binge. So long as approval is gained and credit is given, there's no reason to hate on anyone in this community for making their videos. The one thing we can all hope for is that these YouTubers can continue to enjoy making their content, and always have the freedom to branch out their channels or take breaks if the repetitiveness of the job ever kicks in. If you couldn't already tell, I'm on the YouTuber side here. The RPG horror story subreddits have had their way for a bit too long now, and with someone like me who's been a passionate member of the storytime community for a while, it was about time I stepped in and said my piece. If you agree, then definitely smash that like button so we can spread this video around and offer support to these creators. Hope you all enjoyed the video. If you haven't already, then definitely check out my homebrew packs using the link down below. Consider subscribing if you're new, and I will see you all next time.
Yeah. So for sure. When I clicked on this video, I didn't even think that it was gonna be that about that, right? We were looking for just like, hey, let's check out some D&D horror stories and let's see what you guys think about them. But like, really, this is a whole different outlook from on the stories and the people who write them and the people who and at least here on YouTube, people who make those videos. So yeah, I think really great stuff. But let me know what you guys think of that. So I think that was a really great video there by Blaine Simple. So I might do one more here. Let's see if we can find something nice, not too long, right? So that was a good length there. And I keep getting beard hair in my beard. Let me know what you guys thinking here. See if you're enjoying this so far. Definitely had some great horror stories earlier. No, that's not horror story. Let's look up D&D horror. So I just found out about this as well. So they're called Greentext stories, but essentially they're like D&D like horror stories, but it's just a bunch of, it's more random, and some are really good and encouraging. So let's see if we can find a good one. Not too long. So this is 11. This is an 8. Might do this one. The Legend of Krod, the Angry Carpenter. Let's maybe check it out. I'll open that up here for a second and see if we see something better. The Legend of Krog, the orc who imitated wood. Okay, so we're going to do this one a little bit. It's a little bit shorter. Yeah, I should do that one. We'll do that one. Yeah, not me. I'll keep getting lots and lots of hair. All right. Should we do that one? Well, okay. Well, we'll check this guy out. I know this guy's been getting popular. So ZacSpeaksGiant. So we'll check his out. And it's a little bit shorter, so that works.
This was a wrap-up for a module we were playing, but I had fun the whole way. I played Krod, the half-orc rogue, with a flail, because in Pathfinder, just about any weapon can get sneak attack damage. Krod is over 7 feet tall, and speaks in the third person whenever he thinks someone is watching. Said to the paladin, "Krod suggests you look the other way while he's shopping." He wasn't dumb, but people never expect the idiot to be running a crime ring. Krod was a good stealth guy, but he shined in intimidation, plus 13 at level 3. This made for great moments as the game went on. The first time he was sneaking around, I fumbled his stuff.
So it didn't say what okay, it says this because in Pathfinder, it didn't say like he was a rogue or anything, right? So okay, so the first time he was sneaking around, I fumbled his stealth roll. Okay.
Stealth roll. I looked at the GM. Krod rears up and screams at the top of his lungs, "You know, see, Krod!" I critted the roll. That was
okay. That that remind me of is it Bola? Like Umbola from the Calamity from Critical Role when they play Calamity and then it was Sam Riegel's characters. Oh yeah, I introduced the character. I'll just put it here so you can see what I'm talking about. That just reminded me of that and a little bit of Grog too. Grog, maybe that. So Critical Role.
Was Krod. One of his quotes was, "Only two things see Krod, dead things and things that know better than to admit it."
Something wrong? Nope.
At the end of the module, my group is breaking up a local cult and we get caught in the middle of leadership while trying to steal incriminating documents. So we fight and against all odds defeat the leadership and then mask Golem. It helped when Krod kneecapped it with a sneak attack with his two-handed flail.
So that's it.
Krod's
It
standing
is a
over the
rogue.
cult leader and gives his BBEG last words. "I should have known you were unbelievers from the start. Krod always considered self-militant agnostic. Krod not really know what to believe. And he is very frustrated with that. Crunch." Good old Krod.
Just gets super mad out of nowhere.
Still, one of my favorite moments is when I had to ad-lib a distraction. The group had infiltrated the earlier mentioned cult and were being processed. Our mage wanted to sneak off to check on some enchantment or another, and I volunteered to keep their attention. The GM smirks and says, "Okay, what do you do?" Krod tells an entertaining story to distract the acolytes. "Okay, tell me a story." No roll, tell me the story. Okay, Krod gets them talking about themselves and eventually says, Krod had lots of jobs before coming here. Bouncer, bodyguard, gigolo, city guard. Jim, a gigolo? Yep. Krod was kept man for noble lady. She get off on Krod not being fancy. Krod had to quit though. Why did you quit? Fancy pants suitor get mad at Krod for taking his woman. Challenge Krod to duel, then Krod kill him. And she kicked you out? No, noble lady get off on that too. Police get real mad though. But duel's illegal. Yes, but only if you kill man during the duel. You killed him outside of the duel? Well, Fancy Pants tell Krod to choose weapon. Krod choose surprise.
Oh man, that's kind of nasty. That's really nasty. Why does it sound like a barbarian and like just like a really low intelligence rogue? You know what I mean? Like it sounds like we're listening to the story of a barbarian, but it's maybe it's a mix. Maybe it's a multi-class, right? Just like barbarian rogue. Those are common. Those are out there, right? So, but yeah.
Krod had a lot of fun in a short set of campaigns. At one point, Krod is hanging out with his group as we travel by river. When the GM notes that we are passing another boat, he asked us where we were. I said Krod was in the crow's nest. The boat is too small. There is no crow's nest. He built one. He can't build a crow's nest. I haven't chosen a craft skill yet. Krod is carpenter in free time. He enjoy working with hands in a way that doesn't require he put down tarp first. You have no tools. Krod glares at some spare planks until they know better than not to be crow's nest. I rolled to intimidate the wood. GM. Roll it.
Yeah, like I would be like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like that's that's a little bit. I mean, it's funny. It's fun. Definitely a funny moment. It's like okay.
Krod now has the craft skill angry carpenter.
That's nice. So that's cool. So like essentially, gave him. I'm trying to find that. No,
Krod
there we go. Angry Carpenter. That's really cool. That the DM that was like, that's hilarious. They probably freaking critted, and all of a sudden like, okay, now you are the best Angry Carpenter out there. It's like, you know, I cast fist type of feels there. So that's awesome. So cool. I think it was just a like and subscribe up there at the end. Oh, something else here at the end.
That was Krod. One of his quotes was, only
Some bloopers there for sure. That's funny. Oh, it reminds me a lot of Grog, probably because it rhymes with it's a Grog from Critical Role. But yeah, he's just straight up nasty. Not nasty. He's a good guy. It reminds me of a his actions are literal, the same way that a lizard folk would take your words literal. You know what I mean? So, for those who play lizard folks out there, that's funny. Yeah, some of these are really great here. Critical Role. Okay. All right. So, let's see. Might do another short one. I think the short ones are really nice. But at the same time, want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you guys been thinking of these stories so far, and what you guys thought of these stories here earlier. And again, the link's in the chat right there if you want to go and read them yourself. But I might do one more. And I see this one here. What is a tavern? DND Greentext. So we'll see. We might check that out here in a second. Just want to find something not too long. Sounds like you guys are pretty quiet today. Which is fine. Okay, we'll go with that one. We'll call that one for an end here. But let me know.
Hello everybody, Crit Crab here with a quick little green text story about one group's rebellion against an overbearing and micromanaging DM. Roll post. Join a game of D&D because why not? GM seems cool, players are all varying levels of autist, but otherwise not horrible people. First session rolls around. Encounter goblins as our first encounter. My barbarian runs up to cleave them in half. Get told to roll fortitude. Why? Just do it. Roll a 13 on fortitude. You inhale a dust that smells of rotten tomatoes. Okay. Never heard of this effect, but whatever. Eventually kill the goblins. Then the DM rolls.
Okay, I'm wondering if it's gonna be poison or something like that. Or just rotten tomatoes. Really, really awkward. Really random. It feels like.
Some dice behind the screen and chuckles. Heh. A goblin bursts from your chest. Wait, what? You breathed in the spores of a goblinoid, which you...
What the fuck? Just like... Didn't he just... Yeah. What monster is that? What the... Did you totally miss what type of monster that was? Just freaking... Barbarian runs into cleave them in half. Oh, encountered goblin. So a goblin that freaking goblin spores that smell like tomato. All of a sudden they're like freaking... They're like the frog things. I can't think of the name right now. But they have like spores, and like and they lay eggs in you, and like they erupt from your body. Okay, that's crazy.
A dust that smells of rotten tomatoes. Okay. The DM your chest. Wait, what? You breathed in the spores of a goblinoid, which erupts from their body whenever they take damage and has a chance to form a new goblinoid and erupt from the victim's chest. The what? Why didn't you tell? You didn't roll nature. Wouldn't my character have known not to get close to these things? Your character's not smart enough to know what a goblin is. Pissed off, begin rolling up a new character.
Your character is not smart enough to know what a goblin is. This sounds like the DM definitely had this like idea in mind. He was thinking like, this is gonna be so good. This is gonna like make my freaking characters, my players scream in horror, and 100% did that. Just like a little overboard. Like, yep, you couldn't have known that these were goblins unless like different type of goblins, you know what I mean? Like, but maybe it was that, right? Maybe it was like a different type of goblin, just like a different species of goblin. Yeah.
This time I roll up a ranger with above average intelligence, with goblinoids as a favorite enemy. DM
smart, right? Now we're thinking.
looks annoyed for a moment, but lets it slide. Think nothing of it. Get ready to be integrated into the party properly. Things go off without a hitch. Nobody tries attacking me or stealing my stuff or whatever. Get welcomed with open arms. Go into town for a bit to resupply before heading out towards our next point of interest. Along the way, we encounter some goblins. Oh boy, here we go, .jpg. My turn comes up. I make my attack roll.
Yeah, real quick, you guys let me know, the video game that's displaying here in the background, it reminds me of a I'm pretty sure it's Golden Axe. I remember I played it like once. I wasn't one of the. I didn't like own or anything. I was like over at a cousin's house, but that's what it reminds me of. Kind of walk around, and you're just like, somebody has a bow, somebody has an axe. You're just walking around killing monsters. That's pretty cool. I had like a chimera back there. Let me go back a little bit.
Goblins. Oh boy, here we go. .jpg. My turn comes up. I make my attack roll. Your bonuses don't apply here. What? Excuse me, you clearly said that these were goblins. Your character doesn't know that though. Besides, they aren't actually goblins. The what? Yeah, people call them goblins, but they aren't actually goblins. They're a variant of the orc subtype. And you're telling me that my ranger, that lives in the woods and fights goblinoids, wouldn't know the difference? Of course, because he isn't smart enough.
Why? Okay, I want to hear why he isn't smart enough. There's a big difference between a goblin this big and an orc that's that big. Unless the orcs are like this, so maybe orcs and like orc parent and a goblin parents kind of did a thing, and now you got an orc like that. But I don't know. Let's hear.
Now I'm pissed, but I hold my tongue, do my attack roll anyways, and we kill the party. If the other players are mad, they aren't showing it. Most are avoiding eye contact or fidgeting in their seats. Campaign's hitting critical overdrive, so I decide screw it and start having fun with the DM. After a couple more encounters with goblins, one of our melee guys got killed from breathing in the goblin dust. Later, we make it to town and are beckoned by a young woman, an elf, of course. Am I smart enough to know what an elf is? What? I'm asking, am I smart enough to know what an elf is? Everyone's looking.
Okay, I really like this player. He's been thinking, he's been screwed over twice, and he's had it adjusted both times, right? First time, he's like, okay, I'm going to do a ranger, favorite enemies, goblins. No way you can trick me. And now he's like, I know what's up. Do I know what the hell a freaking elf is?
At me funny, but I don't care. I've long since stopped caring. Yes, you know what an elf is. Cool. Elf beckons us towards a tavern. Am I smart enough to know what a tavern is? DM tells me yes. I say cool in response. So you guys walk through the door. Am I smart enough to know what a door is? I can see the faintest outline of a vein on the DM's forehead as he curtly replies, you know what a door is. Cool. Anyways, you're...
Yeah, 100%, right? If you can understand, like, if the DM tells you, hey, you don't know this creature that is from space, maybe play Spelljammer and it's first time encountering it. But if the orc was no different than another orc, and if it was still, and you couldn't tell that it was not a goblin, like, then that's on the DM, right? So I think awesome job on the player there for getting him some shit.
You're all led to a table. Do we know what a table is? One of the other party members asks. Yes, you know what a table is. And you sit down. What's sitting? Another party member asks. You know how to sit. And when you do sit down, she asks you, what's a question? Another party member asks. DM is noticeably pissed, but the mood has become much lighter than it was earlier.
Yeah, 100%.
Every word the DM asks is interrupted with questions on whether or not we know what it is. Meanwhile, we're all still laughing like idiots. The DM eventually told us over Facebook that he was canceling the game for the foreseeable future, and then deleted us from his friends list once someone asked, "What's a Facebook?"
Yeah, I think the player did that fantastically, and everybody. I only imagine the only other reason why everybody else kind of went along with the players, because like he was in the right. They probably noticed it too, and the DM just like leaving and being like, "I'm out," like goodbye, and not really trying to talk to the situation. Probably it's a really good sign that it was just the DM, right? He had a certain idea of what he wanted to do with the game, but it just didn't make sense for how the game is actually played.
End post. Well, for one, that was hilarious and makes me come to realize that if the game's bad and you can't or just don't want to leave, Why not have a little bit of fun with it? I also wonder how these stories would end if more people tried to flip that guy's agenda by deliberately trying to out that guy the that guy. But that's all in speculation. If you enjoyed this video, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more stories just like this one. Till next time.
Sure. Cool. So, yeah, that was great. I think, yeah, just like I was saying, he found it. Crip Crab found it hilarious as well. What is a tavern? That's funny. It's like now I gotta ask. Maybe I'll make a character just like that. They know what it is, but they're always asking, "What is this?" It reminds me of a scene of Borat where he's like, "What is this?" And and they're at a supermarket looking at cheese. It's cheese. What is this? Cheese. And this cheese. What is this? Cheese. It just goes down the whole like freezer aisle doing that. Oh man. All right. So I think you guys been really quiet today. But hopefully you have all enjoyed the stories here today. I think there were some really great stories, some things that were unexpected. As well that Blaine simple video, it was very unexpected, not thinking it was gonna be a video like that, but great video there. And this last one here by Quick Crab, that he made was really good too. So hopefully you had a great time with me here today. And if you're looking to hang out some more, I need to make sure you gotta like say something, right? Make sure you tap on the chat. Otherwise, I'm out, guys, because nobody loves me. Nobody wants to talk to me. Okay. But hopefully you enjoyed this today, and next week I might have something a little bit more on the educational side where instead of just kind of have fun, relax type vibe. All right. So make sure you hit that like, be on the lookout for new videos. I try to do them as fast as I can, what I was talking about earlier. I get my videos down, sometimes like a short. Maybe I can do like 3 hours, just editing out a short real quick. And the longer videos, sometimes that takes me, I'll say, about like 8 hours now. And that's like trying to keep it very minimum. If I started adding all these graphics and stuff, like all of a sudden now we're looking at a 12-15 hour video or more, and it's tough to do that, especially right now. I'm trying to get as many videos as I can out there for you guys that you guys enjoy, hopefully. So the more feedback I get in the comments, and the better that I know I'm doing a good job for you guys. So hopefully you have a great night, enjoy your critical role, and see you soon, guys.